before starting to connect with anybody else, you connect with yourself in the morning. So you give some time to yourself, you give some loving to yourself. And when you fill the cup of yourself, now you're ready to fill the cup of others.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host, my name is Karolina, and I'm the connection catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Mustafa Kombos. All right, I made a mistake already in the first sentence of introducing you. That's pretty funny. Mustafa Kombos, the practitioner, student, and teacher of yogic knowledge. Welcome to the show, Mustafa. How are you doing?
I'm good, very nice, Carolina. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm quite funny now. I, I always feel quite funny when I make mistakes introducing people, or just in the first 1 minute of of recording the podcast. So yeah, right now I feel really funny. Thank you.
Yeah, that's nice. We feel more comfortable now too.
I mean, sometimes it happens. It happens. But yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to ask first the question that I always ask people about the journey of how you became the practitioner of yogic knowledge. What has inspired you to be on the journey? Were you always interested in these things? Was it a family thing, or did you just start? Did you meet someone who introduced you? How was your journey?
Well, actually, while I was studying, I had a yoga studio right under my house, and I was always every day keep crossing in front of it. And then one day I said, why not just to pop in to see what's going on inside? And well, definitely I always had some interest to some different philosophies. I was always reading some psychology, some philosophy, the difference between West and East, and how the people are trying to understand their own existence and stuff. So I just popped into the studio to see what is happening, and mostly in the studio, it was based on asanas, the practices. But immediately I started to feel something different, you know. First, I couldn't describe what was it. Like we were just stretching, keeping it still, breathing and stuff. And then I started to like go much more deeper into it to understand actually what is happening to me, because it was not only physical. I was like feeling much more alive. I was feeling much more energetic. So then I start keep going there and trying all the different types of yogas like Ashtanga, Vinyasa, Hatha, Yin, and all of them. And then at the end, I started to practice Ashtanga by myself because the sequence was set. Like I could just look at the sequence online from Google, the primary series, and just practice it in my house, in the garden, in places that I go while I was traveling, on the stones, on the rocks, everywhere. And it kind of became like my, how would I say, it kind of became my tool to connect with myself. You know, that 1 hour and a half, 2 hours of practicing, taking myself into my corner, tuning with my breath, tuning with myself, actually connected me to the all the environment that I am in, to the world, to other people, and to nature, and to universe.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I feel like yoga has become a part of my life like this as well. Now, if I don't practice for a few days because I'm like traveling or doing something, like I'm like, oh, I need my practice. I need my, I need my yoga, And before that, I was a yoga hater. I hated it. I didn't like to do this at all. I was just like, oh, all this stretching is so painful. Oh my god, I don't want to do this. But yeah, I was lucky enough that my best friend did the yogi instructor course, and then I started doing it because it was literally happening in our living room because we lived together, and then I just fell in love with it completely. But yeah, I completely understand like how you practice and connect to yourself, because for me it's also something that connects me to my body, that really like relaxes me and so on. So it's really beautiful how the practice of movement can bring you to yourself and to your higher self and really connect all these layers of yourself in the practice. So that's really nice. And so you are a student and practitioner and teacher of yogic knowledge. And I would like to talk a little bit about the yogic knowledge and also the principles of yoga, because I feel like there is a lot about, okay, movement and asanas, but I know that there is a lot more to this. So I would like you to tell us a little bit about that.
So yoga is a very old teaching. There have been some signs on the caves, like referring to more than 6,000 years ago, about people sitting in a lotus pose that we know as pose now, in meditation posture. And then about 4,000 years ago, Patanjali came up with sutras, which are aphorisms about yoga, leading you to the journey of yoga and, of course, to yourself. How to be able to control your mind, the patterns of your consciousness, your awareness, getting aware of yourself, being aware of your breath, being aware of your body. And then Patanjali came up with 8 limbs of yoga in these aphorisms, uh, leading you to a certain type of journey to reach that liberation, I'll say. And in this liberation journey, it starts with yamas and niyamas actually. It doesn't start with asanas. First, you have to, yamas and niyamas are the ethical guidelines of yoga, actually, the ethical guidelines of life. It teaches us how to be non-violent to all the other beings around us. It teaches us not to speak bad about anybody or not to lie. It teaches us not to steal or even look at somebody's belonging. That's another desire for you to have to another object. It teaches us to be moderate with things that we consume and that we use. So when you look at it from that way, actually, these teachings are what we really need in this world at the moment. If everybody would apply these teachings of yoga, which are coming before asanas, world would be a different place, without violence, without wars, without this much of high consumption and high production, because now at the moment we are consuming and producing without realizing the effects of them and without realizing the causes of them. Yoga teaches us to use to consume as much as we need. It teaches us to be uh, keep it less, keep it only things that we need with ourselves. And then it comes the niyamas after the yamas, which are a little bit more practices, such as being clean with your physical body and also with your mind, like cleaning your thoughts when a negative thought comes, realizing it and like changing it. Because realizing something is the first step, but then you have to practice it, then you have to act to change it. So niyamas are actually the change part, getting in action. A bad thought can come, you realize this by applying the yamas, and then now it's time to apply the niyamas to change what is there. And there are also other niyamas. We can go deep into those, but if we go deep into those as well, we wouldn't have time to finish the podcast, I guess.
I want to go deep.
and then and then after niyamas comes asanas, the physical practices that we do. And asanas is actually to discipline our body and actually to get to connect with our body. And other reason that we do asanas is that our spine is straight, that we can breathe naturally, that the breath, the flow of energy is naturally flowing within our body. And also at the same time, in furthermore practices of yoga, there is practices of concentration and meditation, which you have to keep still for hours sometimes, just to be able to concentrate into more subtler levels of yourself rather than thinking about your physicality. It's like you can observe this too in somebody who has some like pains in their body. Those people are usually always like complaining about that pain in their body, oh my back hurts, oh my this hurts, oh my that hurts, because it's a very it's a very tangible feeling to have that any place in your body is hurting, so it always gets your attention. So at the same time, we kind of healing our body, so we can forget about the physicality and we can go beyond the physicality. If you are mobile and comfortable enough your physicality, now it comes the time to concentrate on to a little bit more deeper level, such as your breath. Now you can sit still and just concentrate on your breath, following your breath, getting in through your nostrils and following all your body. And the breath in yoga, it's little bit refers to the flow of energy in your body. So with the breath, you also kind of balance your energies. Like we have some breathing techniques. Pranayama, the fourth limb of this eight limb, is actually breathing techniques. And we have such breathing techniques to balance the energy. We have breathing techniques to clean the energy. We have like these energy lines in our body, and there are certain breathing techniques that you clean those energy lines. And this is actually much more the connection with you and your energy body, because in yoga we have different bodies like physical body, energy body, mind body, bliss body. And the energy body is actually what keeps your physical body alive, awake. It is a little bit more deeper down than your physical body. So with the breathing techniques we kind of start to connect with our energy body, to cleanse it, to balance it, and things like that. And then after breathing, we come the fifth limb, which is pratyahara, which is the withdrawal of your emotions. So I can explain this in a way that rather than emotions directing you, you realize your emotions and you direct your emotions. There is a good example about this, that think that you are driving the horse and the horse is your emotions. Rather than horse driving you around without the control and you freaking out, you hold your ropes and you control your horse and you lead your horse where you want to take it. And then after pratyahara, it comes the sixth limb, which is the concentration part. We always we call this monkey mind. All of us always thinks about something all the time. So the concentration allows us to be able to observe our mind, to see all those things, opinions, thoughts coming into our mind. And what we do, we actually try to concentrate on a single object to calm our mind. You can never silence your mind, but you can reduce it down to be able to concentrate on something. And this allows you to concentrate on any other thing around you in your daily life as well. Being able to concentrate on single thing for a couple of minutes will allow you to concentrate on things happening around you in your daily life. You will be much more in present by seeing beautiful things around you and even your conversations, because sometimes when you talk with somebody you're actually thinking
Mm-hmm.
many other things and you're actually not listening to that person. So this concentration kind of allows you to listen that person when you have to listen, and to speak when you have to, and when you are walking from A to B to see things that are happening in between, because sometimes we go from A to B, and because we have many things in our mind, we actually don't even remember one single thing that happened on the way. We don't realize the trees growing. We don't realize the people doing stuff in between. So this concentration part allows you actually to see things around us, to be more open to what is happening around. And then comes the meditation part, which is the seventh limb. This happens after you can concentrate on a single object for a longer time. Then your mind starts to get very, very, very silent, that you get into a state of meditation. Here it's much more than your mind. It's more the releasing part. You don't concentrate on any breath. You don't concentrate any part. You are just you just start to be, to connect with the higher self, I'll say, or to the universe. And then the eighth limb comes the samadhi, the enlightenment part. Um, like I practice most of these limbs, but not the samadhi, so I cannot explain it from my own experience. But this enlightenment part is also where, as you get into meditation state, and you kind of diminish all your suffering, clean all your karmas, that you are ready, um, that kind of you are ready to connect with the infinite again. In yoga, it's believed that you are reincarnated and you will come back to world, to life again, to finish the things that you couldn't finish. So with samadhi, actually, you broke the circle of reincarnation and you become incarnated, going back to where you came from beginning.
Beautiful. There is a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that you can practice in yoga. Then there is a lot of teachings and knowledge. Thank you so much for sharing. And so I'm curious to know because you said that you practice most of them, right? Apart from the samadhi. So I'm curious to know like how it has shifted your life, like applying these principles, applying all these things. Like what kind of shifts do you see in yourself thanks to application of these?
Well, um, many things. The change actually starts with yourself, but you can see the change around you. You know, like after I started practicing these things, and after started really practicing these things in my daily life, I started seeing that my environment was changing. You know, people were changing, like different people started to come into my life. Also, the existing people started changing as well, because you always, it's easy to blame people around you and it's easy to judge people around you, but actually what you're blaming and what you're judging is yourself. So when you started to clear all those judgments about anybody else, it becomes that you sort out all the judgments about yourself as well. And then when you become in that state of a non-judgment state and accepting and understanding state, automatically people around you becomes like that too, you know, like they see your reaction is different than before, and then they immediately started to change, even they don't practice yoga or anything like that. um, they started to practice with you, you know, like um, you kind of give them that space of freeness, give them that space of understanding, observation, and acceptance. So automatically, your surrounding starts to change in a way that it becomes all the time much more peaceful and much more, I would say, like uh, joyful. Like like place that I am at now, it's a retreat center. Yes, mostly people here comes for this kind of practices. Yes, but it's a place that's in the mountains, and a lot of people are coming here from the city, from their like lives for 5 days of retreats, for 2 weeks of retreats. When they first come, they are a little bit, you know, tense, and they are a little bit like, because we are not a five-star resort hotel, we are just here working all together with the crew, with the owners and all the volunteers and all the team. So first people, when they come here, they kind of feel awkward seeing us like working all together in harmony. And after 2, 3 days, they woke up smiling. uh, they come to kitchen like with a huge smile on their face. Like first 2 days they were like a little bit angry and a little bit like, can you give me this? Can I take that? Kind of uh, actions. And like after the third day they are like, oh, can I help you? Or like, can we do this together and stuff like that, you know? Like it's magical to see that change, like the energy that you give, is the energy that you take at the end.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I actually have also seen in myself, like if I changed myself when I started beyond my spiritual development journey, everyone around me started changing, even without me having to say anything. Because like if I work on my energy, then I have a higher vibration, and when I'm around someone, my aura is literally influencing this person, whether they want it or not. And it's like
Mhm.
we are just vibrating with the wisdom, with the love, with the light that we become. So then all the people that are around us feel it consciously or subconsciously or super consciously, however they feel it, they do. And so if we working on ourselves, as you said, we can influence even people on the street. I feel when we are passing them by and we just vibrate so high, especially when we activate our heart, when we can really love everything, we can love life, we can love everyone that we're passing by on the street, we can literally activate their hearts as well, just by radiating ourselves. And so I totally resonate with what you're saying. And especially like, yeah, on a retreat, it's just so good. It's just so good. Like when you have so many heart-based people and you just come there and after like, yeah, a few days, you're like, oh, life is bliss.
Yeah.
And then it's just all good. That's why people need retreats. They need it more
Yes.
than anything else, I think. But yeah, it's
Exactly.
beautiful. I really like that you're on a retreat and that you can experience this right now. And so I also have a question, just more kind of like practical question about yoga,
Hmm.
because it just came to me that I actually don't know what is the best time to practice yoga, because some people do it first thing in the morning, some people do it in the evening, because some people say in the morning because then you kind of like set yourself up for the whole day, some people say in the evening because your body is already like warmed up. So what do you feel? What's your idea about it?
Well, personally, I prefer to practice both in the morning and the evening because they have different effects. Yes, when you practice in the morning, it is more getting yourself ready for the day. You know, you are more energetic. You are active because like yoga is not like any other physical movement that it tires you. It's reverse. It energizes you. It gives you this boost that you can be much more like active during the day, and it's much more makes you mobile. You can sit easily, you can walk easily, you can do anything easily. Most you can breathe much more oxygen that gives you a lot more energy throughout the day. And also the one in the night. So during the day, you do some actions. Sometimes, for example, I go hiking during the day, or I do any physical movement that is like repetitive, and that it kind of focuses on certain part of my body. And also, you collect all the other energies of your surroundings throughout the day. So in the night, you kind of clear that energy. You kind of come back to yourself. And also, if you did anything like physical, you can kind of smooth it out. You can kind of work on that part as well. But at the same time, before going to your bed, before going to your dreams, it's nice to clear out your energy again, to come back to yourself, to kind of little bit open up your breath again. And at the same time, it's similar effects in the morning too. Again, before starting to connect with anybody else, you connect with yourself in the morning. So you give some time to yourself, you give some loving to yourself, and when you fill the cup of yourself, now you're ready to fill the cup of others. And then in the night you fill the cup of others, now you have less in your cup, so again before going back you fill your cup again, and then you go back again to bed.
So, do you recommend morning and evening practice for everyone? Because some people are like, "Oh, I'm too busy to do it twice a day."
The thing is, asana practice, maybe you can do the asana practice in the morning and then you do some breathing in the night. So mostly we do asana practice rather than doing some breathing or some even meditation. But for example, you can do the breathing in the morning, open up your lungs, open up your breath, getting some more oxygen into your body. And then you can do some asana in the evening because in the morning your body is not that open. You kind of need to open up your body.
Is there a different benefit when it comes to the length of your practice, in terms of, you can choose to do 15 minutes and it's going to be in the morning and 1 hour in the evenings, have different effects, or 1 hour and different effects, because some people are really busy and they don't have time, for example, to do 1 hour in. So what do you recommend? Like, how long should be the practice, at least, to bring you the most benefits?
Yes, I mean, yeah, it really depends on how much time you can spend for this. Of course, it's better if you spend longer times because um, think it if you think like it, there is like warm up, and there is part that you start to focus on to certain area, and then there is like a cool down that it has to be like in a flow. Otherwise, if you warm up and then you leave it like that, you kind of increase the energy, like send it up high and then leave it there. So what happens, it can crash down, and you can feel like um, you can feel different, not balanced kind of thing, because the energy is something like that is like a certain way of a current, certain way of speed, and it's the same if you go faster than that, you feel imbalance. If you go slower, you again feel imbalance. So you have to kind of keep your practice in balance. So if you have 15 minutes, you can do it 5 5 5, kind of like 5 minutes of warm up, 5 minutes of a little bit more kind of some deepening actions, and 5 minutes of cool down. So it's of course it's better if you do longer, but if you have only 15 minutes, yes, you can do 15 minutes of practice too. That will also bring you to yourself. That will also connect you to yourself. Half an hour is good, you know. Sometimes I do 10 minutes, 10 minutes of keeping it my concentration with me, connecting with me, and then bam, going to where I want to go. Uh, Maybe I feel a stagnation in one specific area, and I just like touch that specific area for even 5 minutes sometimes is enough. So yes, more time is better, but if you have a limited amount of time, it's perfect even that you practice it and you do as much as you can, but try to make it with the same flow, a little bit giving time to warm up, little bit giving time to settle down, and little bit giving time for the cool down and to leave it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So you say that all these three components are really important: to warm up, and then to be active, and then to cool down, right?
Exactly, definitely.
Yeah, I found it very important too, because then you really integrate when you relax and you're in Shavasana at the end of the practice. You really integrate all the changes that are happening in your energy and settle it in. So I found it really, really important as well. And then you can really step into the day, because I usually do it in the morning, sometimes in the evening too. But I like to start the day because I already like move my body and energize myself a little bit. And I like to dance after that as well, to just like get more energy after the practice. But yeah, and I like to chill before that. I like to meditate before yoga, and then it's like meditation, yoga, and dance. It's kind of like my little thing I like to do. I really recommend it, because it's really preparing you for the whole day of like amazingness. If you do it in the morning, it's just like setting you up for really feeling great. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing all that. It's been really a pleasure to talk to you. So I have a question, last question. If people would like to maybe see your content and find you, what's the best way to see it?
I actually went live on YouTube on Friday. I started to upload 30 minutes of flows, and I will be keep posting some content also about asanas, breathing techniques, and the philosophy of yoga. So I recently started my YouTube channel. You can follow me from there. I would be happily receiving your subscriptions. And then also on Instagram, I also post some helpful information, sometimes small tutorials, sometimes small follows from there too. So Instagram and YouTube, you can find me as Combo Yoga.
Combo yoga.
And
That's
yeah,
amazing.
I would
Thank
be
you so,
happily
so
to
much for
practice
sharing
together.
all that. I feel really excited to do yoga now, even more than I was before. I'm super grateful that you agreed to be on the podcast. I really love your energy. So thank you so, so much. It's been a
Uh,
pleasure to talk to you.
Same as me, Carolina. Your energy is very beautiful. You are shining like a sun. It was a pleasure for me to answer your questions and make this podcast.
Thank you.